right, so got a couple of different beavers here. I'm going to show you how different people measure and size beaver, and also how they grade beaver. So I got two decent sized beavers here. So in West Virginia, the way they do it is they measure from the left front foot to the right back foot, right front foot to the back left foot. They add those two together, and that's the size you have, whether it be 45 to 50, 50 to 55, 55 to 60, so on and so forth. So at the West Virginia fur auction, we got one measurement here. That right there is 34 inches. And this right here is 34 inches. So what's 34 times 2? 68? Is that right? 68. So this would be a 65-70 beaver, assuming it didn't have any damages. Okay, there's no damages on this beaver. You can see there's no cuts in the leather. It's got decent fur on it. So this would be a 65-70 beaver. It's a pretty good sized beaver. Okay, so now some places they measure from the front to the back, and they measure the widest point from side to side, and they add those together. Okay, and that would be 35 plus 33, so that's 68. So it's the same distance. And then again, some of the auction houses, especially up in Canada, they measure from the ears to the base, and then at the widest point. So if you're sending to NAFA or the fur harvesters, well, NAFA's out of business. So if you're sending the fur harvesters, they might measure from the ears to the base plus the widest point. So that would be 31 plus 33, so that's 64. That would be a 60-65 beaver, okay? Still a good sized beaver. Now, that's how you size beaver. When it comes to grading the beaver, they look at, well, regardless of what the fur buyer will tell you, they're gonna look at two things. They're gonna look at the leather, and they're gonna look at the fur. You got these two beaver. You see how this one's got a bluish gray look to it, and this one's got more of a creamy red look to it? Well, the reason why, this was an early season beaver, this was a mid to late season beaver. You see the difference in color on the leather? This one is more prime because, and you can tell by the color of the leather, okay? But technically speaking, fur buyers aren't supposed to buy the leather, they're supposed to buy the fur. And I've caught coons and beavers before that had blue leather, but they had a good fur. So that's the first thing they're going to look at. The second thing they're going to look at is damages. Thankfully, on these two beaver, there's really no damages to speak of. So then the third thing they're going to look at is the fur. So this one here is an early season beaver. This one here is a mid to late season beaver. And as you can see, look at the difference of the fur. So this early season beaver, it's what we would call flat. There's really no long guard hair to it. You can fluff it up. It doesn't really matter. It's still thin beaver, or it's still thin fur. But this late season beaver, you see how fluffy that fur looks? That's because this is prime. It's late season or mid season beaver. It's got nice thick fur to it. So this one on this one right here, the early season beaver, it still has commercial value. They're going to use it to make hats. It's what we call a hatter beaver. Okay, it's a flat beaver. They're going to they're going to cut off all this guard hair. They're going to trim it down to the felt, and they're going to use that to make cowboy hats. This beaver here, because it's fully prime, they can still use it to make cowboy hats with the felt, with the underfur, but because the guard hair is long, they also have the option to use it to make garments, and they have the option to use it to make trim. So this is a more desirable pelt because they can use this for hats or garments. This one can just be used for hats. So here in West Virginia, if you catch a beaver in November through the first half of December, it's probably going to be what we consider a hatter beaver. If you catch it mid-December through mid-March, it'll be a beaver that can be used both for hats and for garments, and it'll be worth more. Thanks.